The abduction. The stars above Kepler Station sparkled with deceptive tranquility that morning. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the vast observation deck, her reflection merging with the infinite cosmos beyond the transparent aluminum barriers. She had been stationed here for 3 years, serving as Earth's primary voice in the Galactic Council, and in that time she had achieved what many thought impossible. The Vorthan delegates, once openly hostile to human presence, now sought her counsel. The crystalline luminary, who communicated only through light frequencies, had developed an entire spectrum specifically for conversing with her. Even the ancient predecessors, beings who predated most civilizations by millennia, acknowledged her diplomatic genius with something approaching respect. Chen possessed a gift that transcended language or species barriers. Where others saw incompatible differences, she found common ground. Where conflicts festered for centuries, she planted seeds of understanding. The council chambers, once filled with discord and mistrust, had become a place of genuine cooperation under her gentle guidance. She wasn't just Earth's ambassador. She had become the galaxy's mediator, the one being every species trusted to be fair, compassionate, and wise. The attack came without warning during the council's morning session. Chen was mediating a trade dispute between the Miners Collective and the Resource Guardians when the station's lights flickered. A moment of confusion rippled through the assembly before the walls themselves seemed to bend and warp. The hegemony ships materialized from hyperspace directly inside the station's defensive perimeter, their dark vessels cutting through space like knives through silk. These weren't the usual pirates or raiders the station occasionally dealt with. The hegemony represented something far more dangerous. A collection of species that rejected the Council's authority, believing might alone should determine galactic order. Plasma fire erupted through the Council chambers. Security forces scrambled to respond, but the attackers moved with surgical precision. They weren't here for conquest or resources. They came for one thing only. Chen watched in horror as hegemony soldiers, clad in armor that absorbed light itself, cut through the defending forces. The Vorthan delegates tried to shield her with their own bodies, their chitin crackling with defensive electricity. The luminary flashed warning patterns that burned themselves into everyone's retinas, but the attackers had come prepared for every species' defensive capabilities. The leader of the assault team approached Chen with measured steps. Through his helmet's speakers, a voice emerged like grinding stone. "Ambassador Chen, you will come with us. Resist and we destroy this entire station." She looked around at the wounded, at the fear in countless alien eyes, at friends she had made over years of patient diplomacy. There was no choice. She walked forward, hands raised, allowing them to bind her wrists with restraints that hummed with suppressive energy. As they dragged her toward their extraction point, she caught the eye of her assistant, a young human named Marcus, and mouthed a single word: Earth. The news reached Earth in 17 minutes, transmitted through quantum relays at speeds that defied conventional physics. The president was pulled from a state dinner. Military commanders abandoned their posts at a peacetime ceremony. Corporate leaders stopped mid-meeting as their screens flashed with priority alerts. The message was simple, devastating. Ambassador Chen had been taken by hostile forces. The initial response was disbelief. Then came the anger, rolling across Earth's billions like a tsunami of rage. Chen wasn't just a diplomat. She had become a symbol of humanity's place among the stars, proof that humans could be more than the violent primitives some species still believed them to be. The emergency session of Earth's Global Defense Council convened within an hour. Generals, admirals, and civilian leaders gathered in the reinforced bunker beneath Geneva, their faces grim on the holographic displays. Admiral Jessica Storm, commander of Earth's Fifth Fleet, spoke first. "The hegemony has made a critical error. They think we're weak because we chose diplomacy. They think our ambassador was just another bureaucrat." She paused, her jaw clenched. "They don't understand what Chen means to us, what any human means to us." President Kumar leaned forward, his usually gentle demeanor replaced by something harder. "What are our options?" The tactical displays lit up with fleet positions, supply lines, and strategic assessments. Earth's peacetime navy consisted of 47 capital ships, 300 escorts, and countless support vessels. "Respectable, but not overwhelming," Admiral Storm continued. "Sir, if we go with just our standing forces, we might retrieve her, but at tremendous cost. The hegemony controls 17 systems and has been preparing for conflict for decades." The room fell silent until a voice spoke from the corner. It was Director Lee from the Civilian Reserve Authority. Then we don't go with just our standing forces. We mobilize everything. The word everything hung in the air like a challenge. President Kumar stood slowly. Define everything. Director Lee's fingers danced across her tablet and new displays appeared. Every civilian vessel that can mount a weapon. Every retired soldier who can still hold a rifle. Every factory that can produce ammunition. Every citizen who believes that we don't leave our own behind. She looked around the room. We show the galaxy what humanity really means when we say no one gets left behind. The vote was unanimous. Earth would mobilize on a scale never before seen in human history. The message went out across every channel, every network to every human settlement from Mars to the frontier colonies. They took one of ours. We're bringing her home. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Retired veterans stormed recruitment centers demanding to serve again. Civilian shipping companies retrofitted cargo haulers with weapon systems. Mining vessels from the asteroid belt welded armor plating to their hulls and loaded their holds with fighters. Even the generation ships, those massive colony vessels that had been museums for a century, fired up their ancient engines. On Luna, the shipyards that had been operating at 10% capacity roared to life. Workers pulled triple shifts without complaint, their welding torches painting the darkness with streams of light. The Mars colonial fleet, technically independent, voted to temporarily place themselves under Earth command. The Titan Defense Force, still bitter from old conflicts with Earth, sent a simple message. Chen helped our people too. We're coming. Within 72 hours, humanity had assembled the largest armada in its history. Not 47 capital ships, but 417. Not 300 escorts, but 3,000. Fighter craft numbered in the tens of thousands. Supply vessels formed convoys that stretched across entire solar systems. But perhaps most surprising was who else joined. The Vorthan Hive sent their warrior caste. Breaking a century of pacifist tradition, the Luminari offered their stealth technology, previously forbidden to younger species. Even the predecessors who hadn't involved themselves in galactic conflicts for eons dispatched their ancient warships. Ambassador Chen had touched more lives than anyone realized. She had built bridges between species that now became roads for armies marching to her rescue. The coalition fleet that gathered at the edge of human space was unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed. Different species, different technologies, different philosophies, all united by a single purpose: bring Sarah Chen home. Admiral Storm stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned dreadnought, Unbreakable Resolve, watching the fleet form up around her. Her executive officer, Commander Park, whistled softly. "Ma'am, the hegemony has maybe 2,000 ships total across all their territories. We're bringing 8,000. Storm's expression didn't change. They took one hostage. They threatened one life that represents the best of what we can be. Our response needs to send a message that echoes through history. You touch one human, you face all humans. You threaten Earth's chosen representative, you face Earth's full might." The reckoning. The journey through hostile space tested every alliance, every friendship that Ambassador Chen had forged. The Armada moved like a cosmic storm through systems that had never seen such unity of purpose. Admiral Storm had divided the fleet into 3 massive wings, each one larger than most species' entire navies. The central force, led by the Unbreakable Resolve, consisted primarily of human vessels. The left wing contained the allied species who had joined the rescue mission. The right wing surprisingly grew larger with each system they passed through, as more civilizations remembered kindnesses Chen had shown them and decided to add their strength to the cause. The first contact with hegemony forces came at the Nexus Point, a crucial hyperspace junction that connected 7 major trade routes. The hegemony had positioned 800 ships there, confident that even Earth's reported mobilization couldn't match such a force. They hadn't counted on the true scale of humanity's response. When the first wave of the Armada dropped from hyperspace, the hegemony commander reportedly asked for confirmation 3 times, unable to believe the sensor readings. Where they had brought hundreds, humanity and its allies had brought thousands. The battle was brief but decisive. Admiral Storm offered them one chance to surrender and return Ambassador Chen unharmed. The hegemony's response was to open fire. It was their last mistake as an organized force at the Nexus Point. The human fleet's opening salvo was precisely coordinated, hundreds of ships firing in perfect synchronization, but it was the Allied forces that truly shocked the hegemony. The Vorthan warriors, their ships resembling massive insects, swarmed through enemy formations with brutal efficiency. The luminary vessels bent light itself, making hegemony targeting systems useless. The predecessor ships simply moved through enemy fire as if it didn't exist, their ancient shields treating modern weapons like rain against mountains. The nexus point fell in 4 hours. Hegemony forces scattered, some fleeing to warn their leadership, others surrendering rather than face complete annihilation. Admiral Storm accepted the surrenders with military courtesy, but made one thing clear. Anyone who stood between them and Ambassador Chen would face the same overwhelming response. The Armada pushed deeper into hegemony space, and with each system they entered, the truth began to emerge through intercepted communications and prisoner interrogations. The hegemony hadn't taken Chen for ransom or political leverage. They had taken her because they believed removing humanity's greatest diplomat would shatter the fragile alliances holding the Galactic Council together. They wanted to prove that without Chen's unifying presence, the various species would turn on each other, validating the hegemony's philosophy that only force mattered. They had locked her in their most secure facility, on a planet called Fortress Prime, surrounded by minefields, automated defenses, and their elite guard. They broadcast propaganda showing her in captivity, trying to demoralize humanity and its allies. Instead, each broadcast only strengthened the coalition's resolve. The images of Chen, dignified even in chains, reminded every species why they had joined this fight. She had sat with Vorthan queens through difficult births, had learned the 17-tone harmony required for luminary funeral rites, had fasted with predecessor monks during their contemplation cycles. She wasn't just humanity's ambassador. She had become family to 1,000 different species in 1,000 different ways. The battle for Fortress Prime began with the largest coordinated assault in galactic history. 8,000 ships emerged from hyperspace simultaneously, their arrival timed to the nanosecond. The hegemony had prepared their defenses for a conventional attack, with layered defensive positions and fallback points. They hadn't prepared for humanity's actual strategy. While the main fleet engaged the orbital defenses, drawing fire and attention, a strike force of Earth's most elite soldiers, accompanied by volunteer warriors from every allied species, infiltrated the planet using stealth technology provided by the Luminari and improved by human innovation. The rescue team found Chen in the deepest level of the hegemony's command bunker. She was physically unharmed but had been subjected to psychological torture, forced to watch fabricated footage of Earth's supposed abandonment, of allied species turning against humanity. When the cell door exploded inward and she saw the rescue team, soldiers from a dozen different species wearing unified armor, her composure finally cracked. She wept, not from relief for herself, but from joy at seeing the unity she had worked so hard to build made manifest in the warriors who had come for her. The hegemony's leadership surrendered when they realized the truth. They had created the very thing they sought to prevent. By taking Chen, they had unified the galaxy against them more completely than any treaty or alliance could have achieved. The various species hadn't fallen apart without her. They had come together because of her, bound by shared respect and common purpose. The supreme commander of the hegemony, facing Admiral Storm on the bridge of his defeated flagship, asked a single question. How did one human inspire such loyalty? Storm's answer was simple. She saw the best in everyone, even those who couldn't see it in themselves. She made us all better, and we protect what makes us better. The aftermath changed the galaxy forever. The hegemony was dissolved. Its member species offered the choice to join the Galactic Council under new terms that Chen herself helped negotiate. The massive coalition fleet, rather than disbanding immediately, remained together long enough to establish new peacekeeping stations throughout formerly disputed space. The unity forged in the rescue mission became the foundation for unprecedented cooperation. Trade barriers fell, scientific knowledge flowed freely, and conflicts that had simmered for generations were resolved through dialogue rather than force. Chen returned to her post at Kepler Station to find it transformed. Representatives from species who had never before acknowledged each other now worked side by side. The council chambers had been rebuilt with architecture incorporating elements from every member species, a physical reminder of what they had achieved together. But perhaps the most significant change was in humanity's standing. No longer were humans seen as newcomers to be tolerated, or primitives to be educated. The galaxy had learned what Earth's children had always known. Humans might be young among the stars, but their capacity for loyalty, their refusal to abandon their own, and their ability to inspire others made them natural leaders in the cosmic community. Standing once again at the observation deck where she had been taken, Chen was joined by Admiral Storm, who had been appointed as the head of the new Coalition Defense Force. "They thought taking you would break us apart," Storm said, watching the peaceful stars. "Instead, they taught the galaxy what humanity means when we say leave no one behind." Chen smiled, placing a hand on the Admiral's shoulder. "They learned something else too," she said softly. "They learned that humanity's greatest strength isn't our ships or weapons. It's our ability to make others want to stand with us." They took one human and an entire galaxy responded. The story of the rescue entered legend, told differently by each species but always with the same ending. When the hegemony took Earth's ambassador, humanity raised an armada. But it wasn't just humanity's armada by the time it reached its destination. It had become the galaxy's statement that some values transcend species, that some people transcend borders, and that some bonds, once forged, cannot be broken by force. The rescue of Sarah Chen proved that humanity's place among the stars wasn't earned through conquest or technology, but through something far more powerful: the ability to unite others in common cause, to inspire loyalty through kindness, and to demonstrate that every single life has value worth fighting for.